Hey guys, what's up? I want to talk to you about Suboxone. I know, surprising, right? I haven't talked about Suboxone for a while on this channel, and that has been a very intentional decision. Unfortunately, YouTube does not like when I talk about Suboxone, so I was waiting for a time that was necessary, a video or a topic that was necessary for me to make, and I feel like I found it. Suboxone Tapering. Before I get into this, there's a couple things I have to say. I want to make this very clear from the gate. I am not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a mental health professional, I'm not a medical professional in any way. So what I'm about to give you is not advice, and it is specifically not medical advice. So do not take anything I say as medical advice, do not make any changes to your medication, your diet, your lifestyle, anything that affects your health or your well-being in general, especially your medication. Please, this is not advice. Now you may be saying, Megan, if it's not advice, then why are you speaking? I'm giving you conversation starters to have with your doctor. I'm going to provide resources, I'm going to link a bunch of things in the description, and I'm going to give you some ideas of conversations to have with your doctor and your therapist. Because your MAT treatment is not a one-way street. It's not just you, and it's not just the doctor. It is a two-way street. You guys have got to be in on this together. I guess technically it's a three-way stop. You have a therapist in there too. I'm kind of lumping them together, but I'm assuming that you're going to talk to both of them because you'll learn why, but there are psychological aspects to this taper that I really need you to have your therapist on board for. Okay, got it. Before I get into all of this, I want you guys to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and do all that fun stuff. Hit the bell notification. I've been posting a lot more videos lately, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. For my new subscribers, hey guys, what's up? This is not my normal antisocial video, but this is another mental health topic that I care greatly about. I am a recovering addict. I've been in recovery 11-ish years. I don't know. I don't count. I know it sounds silly, but go watch some of my older videos. I'll link a card up above if you want to hear like the full story, but I've been in recovery from heroin addiction for 11 years, and I don't follow a conventional approach, but I have utilized MAT treatment for most of my recovery, and it saved my life. Suboxone has saved my life, and I care greatly about it. Side note, I feel like I'm going cross-eyed because the way that the ring light is positioned, I can like barely see where I'm supposed to be looking. So if I like look all crazy and stuff, like, is what it is. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about myself and why I feel like I can speak on this, because this is my own personal experience that I'm giving you. I'm going to give you my own experience, supplemented with some information from the CDC, from SAMHSA, and from Dr. Jeffrey Junig of Suboxone Talk. That's a YouTube channel and a blog, and he has a forum. I can't remember what the forum is called, but see my description for all of the fun links. My Suboxone journey started with abuse. And it was not something that I took regularly, if ever. I took it as a backup plan, but I officially started Suboxone in 2009. I'm a little hazy, a little fuzzy on the details. This is my second time filming it. You would think I would know the details by now, but I don't. So I started in 2009, and I was on it for a year. I tapered off successfully, but I did not include my doctor in that process, and I set myself up for failure. So I had 4 years of clean time, living life, doing good. I had actually one incident where I had sciatica and actually had to take pain medicine and was completely fine. So 2014 rolls around and I hurt my back, and I thought that I was gonna be okay. I thought that I would just take the pain medicine like I did the last time with my sciatica and do the physical therapy and life would be gravy. I was so wrong. I was so incredibly wrong because my mental health was it was in bad shape. I mean, I cheated on Greg that year, and then the next year was like the whole Megan thing happened in my pregnancy, and we lost Jenna, and like it's just not a good time in my life. And I took the pain medicine and knew immediately that it was going to be bad. It was going to be so bad. So I stopped, like literally the day that my prescription ran out. The next day I was in at a Suboxone clinic, and I have not looked back. That's been 6 years now, and I am happy to be on Suboxone. I'm very happy. I have really no intention of getting off of it, but I am tapering, and I'm tapering pretty successfully. So I want to share a little bit about how I'm doing that, how I failed in the past, what the CDC recommends, what they used to recommend, just go over some things like that, kind of give you some pointers for the conversation that you are going to have with your doctor, because you are not going to make any decisions based off of what I tell you. Not going to happen, right? Right. I'm so nervous because this is a very important topic, guys. This is your life. Like, if you mess this up, you could relapse. You could overdose. Like, this is life and death. This is a very serious topic, and I hope that you understand the magnitude of this. This video is not going to be monetized. YouTube always demonetizes my videos that I talk about Suboxone. I mentioned it in a live stream the other night, demonetized, which is fine. So, you know, if you want to support me on Patreon, that'd be super cool. I'll link it above and in the description, but I'm mostly worried that YouTube will suppress my channel because they suppress the Suboxone videos. And there's a lot of people that do speak on it that are really great, and there's a lot of really good resources out there. And I don't feel like I have anything else to add. I've spoken a lot about Suboxone, so I will make videos in the future. I have a Q&A coming up, so actually, yes, take a moment right now, go to the comments and ask me any question you've ever had about Suboxone, about my taper, my treatment, or anything about the actual medication. I can answer some, I guess, about other things like Vivitrol and Methadone or Sublocade, but I don't have that much experience, and I really just want to speak on the things that I have personal experience with, because I'm allowed to share my own experience. I'm not allowed to give medical advice. So this is not medical advice. Again, this is for a conversation with your doctor and your therapist. Okay, got it. Now, I tapered off the first time in 2010, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Didn't think twice about it. Didn't know that it was supposed to hurt me. And that's odd, right? Like, everyone talks about how hard it is to taper off. I had no issues. I tapered with a tablet. I went down to like so low that I was taking like just a tiny little portion of a 2 milligram tablet every other day. And then I had jumped off. I think I had a week of not sleeping, definitely a week of not sleeping hard, and then that was the worst of it. And then I had mild stomach issues and, you know, all that stuff. Now, the second time around, I tried tapering I got on it in 2014. I tried tapering in 2016 and failed hard. I had moved from South Carolina to Pennsylvania, and I needed to find a new doctor. The doctor I had found up here, it took me forever to find a doctor up here, and then the doctor that we found up here ended up having too many patients and had to, like, downsize because they weren't following the rules. Cool, right? Yeah. So that left me in a bind, but that's how I got into my doctor that I'm with now, who I love, and it also taught me that I wasn't ready to taper. And I've made a video previously about this. I'll link it in the card above and in the description, but there are certain things that you should consider before tapering. There are certain, like, guidelines that I think you should meet. You should be stable in your recovery. How far have you worked your recovery? Like, how far? What are your coping skills like? How are your triggers? Do you have internal triggers, external triggers? External triggers are like seeing a physical object or a place or a person. Internal triggers are like emotions, being overwhelmed, getting frustrated. Does that trigger you, or is that just a frustration that you can work through because you have developed the coping skills? What about money? Do you have a job? Do you have a stable job? Do you have a job where you can take some time off of work if you need to? Because this isn't going to always be easy. There are going to be days when you're not feeling it. There are going to be days when you don't feel good. There's going to be days when your anxiety's high. There's going to be days that you just, out of the blue, can't handle it. And you need to be at a place, like, ideally you could be at a place where you can tell them, hey, this is what's going on, which is what I did back in 2010. And I took a week of FMLA time, and it was so helpful. What about your relationships? Who in your life knows about you being on Suboxone? Speaking of, why are you tapering? You really want to ask yourself this question, because a lot of people are tapering because of outside voices, outside pressure, and then you have a lot of family members that think you're replacing one drug with another, or that you're not really clean, or that you're addicted to Suboxone. Who gives a flying F what anybody else thinks? This is your recovery. This is your life. I've lost so many friends. I'm one of very few people in my immediate friend group that are still alive, and that hurts. And I'm the only one on Suboxone. I watched my best friend walk in and out of meetings, getting his one-day chip. And I watched him be on Suboxone and do really well, and then have to get off for drug court or a recovery house or whatever reason. And, it didn't work. It didn't work not being on Suboxone. So I think Suboxone has really given me the time to live. It's why I'm alive. I've had a really rough couple years. I've had a really rough couple years. My best friend died last August. We lost Greg's sister. I lost my ex. Greg lost his ex. We've moved. We've had a baby. Like, I've lost my job. I lost 2 jobs in the last 6 years. And it's just, I'm not saying that Suboxone is the only reason those things didn't trigger a relapse. Definitely the therapy helps and all of that stuff, but Suboxone is a big part of it. It's taken away the cravings, the pressure, and I like having that safety net. I personally plan on getting down to as low of a dose as I can and just staying there until I feel like getting off. And I don't have to get off anytime soon, but I know that some people don't have that luxury. Some people are forced into tapering off of it before they're ready. Just know that if you are tapering too fast and your body's hurting, you're very likely to not do well, to not stay clean. And that's not something that you really want to risk right now. And a relapse has a 67% chance of ending in an overdose. That's pretty scary, guys. So don't listen to anybody else. Do you ask yourself those questions? Do you think that you replace one drug for another? Do you feel like you're still an addict? Do you think that you're addicted to Suboxone? You could say yes. That's totally fine. This is your question. You're answering it. You don't got to justify anything to me. I just want you to know why you're doing it. Now, as for the physical taper, the actual process, I'm not going to go into too many numbers because of technicalities, but you can always DM me on Instagram and I will try to give you a little bit more answers. I have resources below. Dr. Jeffrey Junig's resources are the best resources. I would highly recommend you read his blog. He's a psychiatrist and he really knows his stuff. I misspoke in my first video and said something that I don't think he technically said, and I don't want to put any incorrect information out there. It's not wrong, but I don't think that he's the one that said it. So that's that. So let's see. If you are on a higher dose, which is anything from higher than 4, he says that Dr. Jeffrey Junig says there are 2 parts to the taper. There's from the upper doses down to 4 milligrams and then from 4 milligrams off. And that part is the hard part, the 4 milligrams to off. So if you're on the higher end, tapering is going to be pretty easy to start. It's going to go quick. There's going to be some anxiety, some discomfort, but it will be mild. And this is a good time for you to assess if you're actually ready to taper. So you will start tapering and you can taper relatively quickly with minimal pain. But if you don't do well, if you struggle, if your anxiety spikes and it's too overwhelming and you can't handle it, just chill. Just give yourself some time. You're not ready. And that's okay. It's okay to not be ready to taper yet. Don't rush yourself. And if there's a reason you're being forced off of it, try to find ways around it. Try to find new insurance. Try to explain to the recovery house why you need this. Try to explain to the courts why you need this. If you're on probation and you're afraid that probation is going to violate you because you're on Suboxone, that's a prescribed medication. As long as you're not taking diverted Suboxone, they can't do much about it. Trust me, that happened to me. I was on probation and I came in and I'm like, yo, I'm on Suboxone now. And they asked me why, and I said, I'm on Suboxone now. And that was that. I can't say it's always going to work out like that, but I hope to God that probation is getting it through their minds that they're not doctors. Okay, so the CDC used to recommend tapering your dosage by 10% a freaking week, which is, that's insane. That's so high. I can't believe that at all. And literally, I cannot believe it. So now the CDC recommends 5 to 10% taper per month. I recommend 2.5% at a time. Like, yeah, that's a little dose. So like I said, you get through the first part of the taper. This is a good time to assess if you're ready, if you're going to be able to hang, if it's too hard, just wait. Just because you failed at tapering right now does not mean that you'll never get off this medication. Just because you can't do it right now doesn't mean that you won't do it later. You can. You just have to get in the right headspace. The psychosomatic symptoms from Suboxone is insane. Insane. And I have a way to kind of help with that, but it's gonna be, I'm gonna insert the trigger warning here. If you have any issues with ritualistic behaviors, if you develop addictions to ritualistic behaviors, if you do not feel comfortable talking to your doctor about this so far, what I've said, then you need to stop, because I can't you have to have this conversation with your doctor. I do this. This is my method for tapering, and I've cleared it with my doctor. We've talked about it. I just need you to understand that if you have a problem with shooting pills, if you have a problem with drug behaviors, you need to stop. That you can't do this. You have to talk to your doctor. But you can't talk to your doctor if you know that these type of behaviors are going to trigger you to use. You'll understand in a second. Dr. Jeffrey Junig says to think about a Suboxone taper in terms of micrograms and not milligrams. So you don't want to be tapering large milligrams off. You want to be tapering micrograms. There are 2 ways to do this. I'll link it in the description. The one way that I found for him is he measures a millimeter of the Suboxone strip and cuts it off every time that he tapers. You know, just tiny little microgram doses. If you have tablets, this is where you can buy a postage scale. We all know what they were used for. You know what they look like. You buy it, you weigh the tablet, and then you can figure out, you know, what is 5% off of this, and then subtract it from your dose, all that stuff. I can go over more specifics in DMs, but I'm not doing it in this video because I'm not trying to encourage any type of behavior. Dr. Jeffrey Junig also says that the more surface area your Suboxone covers in your mouth, the higher the absorption rate. So when you are measuring it specifically with a scale or with like the millimeter cuts and like the perfect, you know, there are videos that I'll link also about how to cut strips, things like that. If you are measuring it, you know you're getting the right dose. Now, there are people out there that are going to say that the strips aren't evenly thick the whole way through, the tablet doesn't have the medication all the way through. I can't control for that, and no one can, and there's not going to be any like blind studies done on that. There's no research. There's no reason to research it unless they have like individual taper packets made, which they should do. They should have a way to taper off of it. They should have pre-measured doses that can taper you off of it. Like, that's fucking genius. Why has no one done that yet? Hello, pharmaceutical companies, come pick me up. I got a good idea. You could make so much money by just pre-packaging little like packets of Suboxone, so like in smaller incremental doses. If that happens, you guys heard it here first, okay? Actually, I think Dr. Jeffrey Junig said it first, but I made it more public. Okay, so do you guys follow what I'm saying? Like, Suboxone has a 37.5-hour half-life. So it takes 37 hours for half of the dose to get out of you. So, like, that first big stretch is going to be easy. That second stretch, like, you want to taper and then wait as long as possible before you taper again. I used to taper, good Lord, I would taper my dose by 10% because that's what the CDC recommended, and I would do it every 3 days. That's a rapid taper. I was insane. That was so insane. You want to go slow to go low. I stumbled over that so bad the first time. Go slow to go low, and take your effing time, guys. There's no rush. And if there is a rush, try to work around that. Fight like hell for your recovery because you deserve this medication. You deserve this treatment. There's so much more than just the medicine, so please make sure that you guys are involving your therapist in this conversation. If anything that I said makes you uneasy and you don't feel like you can talk to your doctor about it, you're not ready to taper. Okay? I mean it. Nothing I said is medical advice. I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart because I love you and I don't want you to fail. I don't want you to fail. I don't want you to relapse, and I don't want you to make any rash decisions. Your doctor does know best. And if you don't trust your doctor to know best, you need to find a new doctor. It's a two-way street, three-way stop sign, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You, your doctor, your therapist. And you need to, if you're using tablets and the postage scale, like I said, you need to include the family members around you. You need to tell the people that you feel safe telling so they're not stumbling across a scale in your bedroom and you're like, oh, it's for my prescribed medication. Like, no. And do everything as if this were medical grade equipment and, sanitize your stuff. Like, take care of yourself. Do not treat this like a drug behavior, guys. This is a conversation that you need to have with your doctor, but take it seriously, please. I know I'm really preachy right now, but I'm like really stressed. I really want to make sure that this is received well. I really want to make sure that you guys take me seriously and have this conversation with your doctor. It might be intimidating, but it's okay. You have to have that conversation. They'll respect you if you talk to them, and if they don't, you need to find a new doctor. Because there are bad doctors out there. I know that. I get that. I don't know why I'm like yelling at you though, but talking about Suboxone stresses me out because I used to talk about Suboxone so much because of Brent, because I wanted the world to see how good it was, you know? And I guess I'm a little sad and a little bitter that he didn't get to experience recovery with it. But that doesn't mean that I don't support Suboxone or that I don't believe in it, because I 100% believe in it. Someone we love died from buprenorphine, from shooting it up, from injecting it. This medication has saved my life, but it's also taken the life of someone I love, and it's also been like teased in front of someone I love, and he was taken too soon because he couldn't have access to it. I've seen all sides of this. I've seen people abuse it. I've abused it. I've seen people sell it. I've sold it. Like, I bought it. I just, it's a messy, messy topic. There's so many shades of gray in this, guys. Please just take it seriously. That's all I can ask. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. YouTube isn't going to share this with anybody anyway, so whatever, it doesn't matter. You can go ahead and support your girl on Patreon if you feel so encouraged, I guess. You know what would be really cool is if you guys could send me some letters. I would really like some letters because I have a P.O. box and I don't know. It would be nice to get a letter. Is that needy? Probably, but also there's a post on my community tab that is a Q&A for me and Greg. You can ask us anything you've ever wanted to ask us about our relationship, our recovery, our mental health, our life together, really. And questions in the comments down here for Suboxone. I love you guys. Be weird, be kind. Bye.